Hello guys, my name is Alexis. I am a data network technologist, and today we are going to see how to install and configure a TP-Link router TL-WR840N. To properly configure the router, you will need obviously the router, a computer, and two Ethernet cables. One of these Ethernet cables comes inside the box with the router. Before starting, I need to tell you that this router is 4-in-1. That means it can work in 4 different modes. These modes are wireless router mode, access point mode, signal repeater mode, and WISP mode. I will also explain what each of these modes are. First, we are going to see how to install the router, and then I will show you how to configure these modes. That way you can know which mode fits your needs. Okay, let's start by connecting the router to the electrical power. The port for the electrical power is on the back of the router and is black color. Immediately after connecting the cable to the power port, the router will turn on the lights at the top. The router has 5 ports on the back. These ports are known as Ethernet ports. There are 1 blue and 4 orange. So you will connect the Ethernet cable at one end to one of the orange ports of the router, and the other end should be connected to the Ethernet port of your computer. When this cable is connected, a third light will light up on the top of the router. I need to tell you something before going to the next step. If you feel that something is going wrong with the router, you can restart its configuration from the button on the back of the router. The only thing you have to do is to press it for a few seconds until its lights turn off. Now go to the computer and open a browser. I used Chrome, but it can be any other browser. In the upper search bar of the browser, you will type http://tplinkwifi.net, or you will type http://192.168.0.1. With either of the two, you will enter the router page where you are asked for a username and password. These credentials are admin as username and admin as password. When you type the credentials correctly, click enter and you will be within the graphical interface configuration of the router. When you are inside this configuration interface, you will notice that it is all in Spanish. This is because this router is directed to the Spanish-speaking Latin American public. Now click on the quick configuration section and then click on next. At this point, it will ask us to choose one of the 4 modes in which the router can work. But first, I will explain the wireless router mode. In wireless router mode, the router will create a new Wi-Fi network. For this, the router must be connected by cable to the modem that your internet provider installed at home. You can use this mode if you have an Ethernet cable long enough to put your TP-Link router in a place where the Wi-Fi connection of your main modem cannot reach. So, you will connect one end of the Ethernet cable to one of the Ethernet ports in the modem you already have at home that provides you with internet connection, and the other end to the blue Ethernet port of your TP-Link router. Then you go to the configuration interface of your router, select the option wireless router and then click next. Now you select the option automatic detection and click next. Wait for the router to detect the connection and then click next again. At this point, the router asks you to configure the name of the new Wi-Fi network and the password you will type to connect to it. Remember to type a secure password. Also remember to place the country where you are. After configuring this section, click Next and finally click Save. You must wait a few seconds for the router to apply the configuration and restart. When everything is ready, the 3 lights on top of the router will turn green. This way you have already configured your TP-Link router to connect to your new Wi-Fi network. If you have more Ethernet cables, you can use them to connect more devices if needed. The next mode that I will explain is the access point mode. This mode is actually very similar to the wireless router mode, only that it asks you to configure the wired network too. In this mode, you also need an Ethernet cable connected from the blue Ethernet port of your router to an Ethernet port of the internet provider modem. For this, you go back to the quick configuration section, click on Next, then choose the access point mode and click Next. Now you will be asked to configure the Wi-Fi network. You configure it equally to the wireless router mode and click Next. And now you have to configure the wired network section. This section I recommend leaving it as is and only click Next. Finally click on Finish. When everything is ready, the 3 lights on top of the router will turn green. As I said before, this mode is very similar to the wireless router mode, only that your device is connected by cable to the router will appear in a different network than the main network of the internet modem. Now let's see how to configure the range extender or signal repeater mode. In this mode, the router will connect to an existing Wi-Fi network to extend its signal or repower it. For this reason, you will not need an Ethernet cable connected from the modem to your router. So go to the quick configuration section and click Next, select the range extender mode and click Next. Now the router asks you to type the credentials of your Wi-Fi network which you want to extend its signal. Click on the scan button. Then a window will open showing all the Wi-Fi networks. You click on Connect when finding your network. This will make the credentials of your network appear automatically. The only thing you will have to do is to type the password and then the router can connect to it and extend its signal. After doing this, you click Next. In this section, you leave everything as it is and click Next. And finally, you click on Finish. When everything is ready, the 3 lights on top of the router will turn green. Finally, I will explain the WISP mode. The configuration of this mode is very similar to the configuration of the range extender mode, but you will use this mode when you want to connect to your internet provider in a wireless way, which we call WISP. Its meaning is Wireless Internet Service Provider. As in range extender mode, you don't need an Ethernet cable connected from a modem to your router. So, go to the quick configuration section and then click on the next button. You choose the WISP mode and click on Next. Now select the option Automatic Detection and click Next. In this section, the router asks you for the credentials to connect. Your internet provider should have previously given you these credentials. Then, let's look for the network by clicking on the scan button. In my case, I don't have a wireless internet provider, so I will connect to a common Wi-Fi network. At this point, all you have to do is type the network password and at the bottom of page configure the credentials of your network. Click on next and finally click on finish. When everything is ready, the three lights on top of the router will turn green. I must tell you, the mirror light of the three that are at the top of the router will be green if the connection is successful and orange if it's not. And that's all for today. If you have any question, you can ask me in the comments. I will be glad to answer all of you. See you later, guys.